I'm Lin-Manuel Miranda, and you're listening to Hard Knock Life.
Well, it's the NOC in full color, you see me? The Hard Knock Life, comics, movies, and TV, yeah.
Welcome to Hard Knock Life. I am Britney and Nate, and today I have with me a very special guest since the other boys couldn't make it. This is my right-hand man when it comes to my other podcasting land, Brother Nate. Welcome, Brother Nate, to Hard Knock Life.
What's up, Brittany and Monet? Good to be with you, my friend, even if it's in a different setting. Like for the people out there that might not know Brittany, like we all remember in Captain Marvel when Nick Fury is handed that modified beeper, and if he's in an emergency, he hit that beeper, and then Captain Marvel come through. That's like it is with us, Brittany, with our relationship. Like anytime Brittany and Monet is in a jam, I got like a tricked out sidekick, like a T-Mobile sidekick that Brittany could just use to get me, and one call and I'm there. So I'm here, fam. I'm excited to talk about all of this latest news, man. It's gonna be fun, y'all. It's gonna be fun.
Yes, I am excited. So we normally cover DC stuff together on our podcast, strictly DC, and every now and then we end up on a Marvel tangent just because we both watch everything. But this is where we really get to lean into Marvel because we're going to be talking about Disney Plus Founders Day, mainly focusing on all the Marvel announcements and maybe some of the Star Wars, and then whatever personally we saw from everything that maybe we want to talk about that we liked. But woo, Jesus. So many shows, just looking at all the titles from just the Marvel alone, it's like crazy.
Like Brittany, if we didn't know before this past week that Kevin Feige was the ultimate pusher man, we know now. Because here's the thing, like I thought, and you know, there was a little bit of confusion, at least on my end, with Disney Plus Day, because I was like, is this going to be a similar setup to the Investors Day, which was last year, and like something that everybody could stream at the same time? And no, this was on Disney Plus. And so it's like, yo, Kevin Feige is saying, hey, I'm gonna show y'all what's coming up next, but I'm only gonna show it to the people that's already on my service. It's like, Brittany, if you had a drug dealer on the corner that showed you the greatest hits of what he's already given you, like, yo, remember that PCP? Remember that acid? Remember that sticky icky I gave you? Just wait, because fall 2023 crack is coming. That's what Kevin Feige did, man. Like he's already preaching to the choir here. He knows like we're already in on not only Disney Plus, but specifically the Marvel stuff. So it's like now he's just running up the score, man. And I was here for it. Like there's shows of characters I have no idea who these people are, Brittany. Like we just saw a title card, and I was like, I don't know who that is, but I'll watch it because I watch everything that Kevin Feige throws on the table because that man is that good.
I agree. I know there's some people, like I've talked about before, who have an issue with the way he kind of is essentially the showrunner of Marvel, like, because it's one big show when you think about it, since they all each movie builds to form like, you know, a bigger like service, kind of like an episode of TV. So I feel like he is ultimately the showrunner. So yes, I know sometimes it can get frustrating for people that he kind of is the one who gets the final say in everything, but I'm not gonna pretend that I don't like everything he does. Like I pretty much have enjoyed almost every Marvel movie, so you know, and most of the shows have been fun. I think Loki's still right for me is number one, but yeah, I'm here for what Kevin is selling us.
Like even bad Marvel is good when you think about it, especially, you know, compared to some of the stuff, you know, growing up in the 90s that we got from a superhero standpoint. Like for everybody complaining like, oh, WandaVision, the last episode ain't really hit, or, you know, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that last episode didn't really hit, or, you know, Eternals ain't really hitting for me. I challenge you, go back and watch Spawn. Go back and watch that 90s, 2000s Fantastic Four. And then come back and talk to me about what we got going on with Disney Plus right now, because it's night and day. Like even the Marvel that doesn't hit right now, Brittany, it's still solid. You know what I mean?
Yes. Actually, we just did a review of Eternals last week. What did you think about it? Just since that's the most
See, I could get on here and pretend, Brittany Monet. I could get on here and improv like I've seen Eternals already, but I haven't.
Okay.
I gotta be honest with you and with your audience here. Like, I was just talking with somebody about this the other day because I finally am going to watch Shang-Chi tonight. I didn't see Shang-Chi when it was out in the theaters because I made a promise to myself, Brittany.
Mm-hmm.
The last movie I saw before the world went crazy was Spider-Man: Far From Home.
So you're saving.
Yeah,
okay.
The only thing that can get me back in these theaters amongst the people is my nephew Peter Parker. So I'm waiting for Spider-Man: No Way Home. That's going to be the first movie I see as a treat to myself, Brittany, coming out of this pandemic.
All right. Well, I can't wait to hear what you think about Shang-Chi. My mom just watched for the first time the other day and she really liked it. So, all righty. Well, we should announce all the shows that Marvel has officially announced before we go off on our tangents like we do.
Yeah. Yo, what did you think about the kind of the presentation before we even kind of get into the details, Brittany? Because it was like, I want to say the entire thing was maybe 15 minutes, maybe. And most of it was showing us stuff we've already seen, like WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, What If. And then we got like 90 seconds of new stuff and title cards.
So I actually was, I think, either in the process of getting ready for work or getting ready to go see All Time Low. I can't remember what day it was. So I just kind of was following the like Twitter thread of announcements. But I did see the like 90 seconds of new footage and the like title cards thing. I saw that. To me, which I tweeted about this, I think, and it's hard to judge each one off of like only 30 seconds or so of footage, but like I think Miss Marvel, and not because she's the character out of all of those ones that I've read most of their comics, I think like genuinely her footage looked the best and looked the most interesting to me, and everything else I was like, I don't know if I'm sold on this.
Wow.
I can't believe I felt that way, but you know, I feel like it was just like 30 seconds, so how can I can't like fully like
okay that's surprising. So because for me, Brittany, like I much like you, like I'm excited for Miss Marvel, so I was already down for whatever they were going to give us. To me, the bigger task is if you can get me interested in something I wasn't interested in before in just 30 seconds or 40 seconds or whatever. And I would say the show that I came out of this the most excited for was Hawkeye.
Okay.
I mean, we talked before about my feelings about this version of Hawkeye in the MCU.
Well, I didn't think you meant like, as I thought you meant new, like, you know, the newer ones. Now I feel like Hawkeye's just right around the corner. So
that's how much Feige has spoiled us. Like we're like, oh, we don't mean new, we mean new. Like the
right?
Like Hawkeye ain't even came out yet. We're already past that.
I mean, I've said before that I can't believe I'm actually excited for Hawkeye because I feel like me and you feel the same about Hawkeye. Like in the MCU, he's just like, all right, but this show looks like it's gonna be pretty good.
Yeah, like I already have an attachment to Kate Bishop from like this teaser and then the teaser we saw before. Like I don't even know how they're gonna, introduce her into Clint's story, but I already am feeling like an affinity for her and an affinity for their relationship. And so I'm excited for Hawkeye. But if you're talking about that new Brittany Monet, the new, I want to say the show that I'm most intrigued by, I don't know if this is going to be the best show, but it certainly was intriguing, was like little clip they gave us for She-Hulk.
Okay.
Because that's the show, like I really like the She-Hulk character from the comics, but I didn't know how it was going to translate. I'm not too familiar with the actress, the lead on the show, so I don't know like what she comes to the table with, but just the little bit they gave us, I'm like, okay, this could be kind of cool. It seems like it's got a more comedic slant to it than some of the other MCU shows, which might be needed. I think like as much as I loved Loki and Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Wanda, like we need a laugh every now and then here in this universe, and I think She-Hulk might give us that.
Yeah, because She-Hulk, like Deadpool originally, is one of the characters that are known for breaking the fourth wall. So she is a little bit more funnier. And for people who don't know the difference between She-Hulk and then her cousin, Bruce Banner, is that when she turns into her Hulk form, she still retains most of like her intelligence and most of her normal personality. It's just she's basically more hulked out. And so that's kind of like the difference in between their like quote unquote powers and stuff. I think Tatiana, that's the actress playing her, she's really, really talented. I was just hoping for a more curvier, thicker actress to play She-Hulk. And I know there's people like, oh, they can like CGI it. I'm like, yeah, but they CGI'd Chris Evans to look like he was 90 pounds when he's not even close to 90 pounds. Like they can, you know, they can do the same thing with a, you know, a female actress. And I know like they're like, oh, they're gonna do the reverse and like make her, but even her She-Hulk looked to me just like more like Gamora than like She-Hulk, you know. And I mean, I know it's just like, you know, a couple of seconds of footage, so hopefully they will fix that, but I still think that this is an opportunity to cast, you know, a woman who is curvier and thicker, and they didn't do that. And that's what sucks, is because ultimately, you know, like you have so many actresses who are curvier and thicker and they don't get cast in a lot of stuff, or they get typecast into a certain type of character. And then when there's a role that could be a little bit different for them and they can play, they don't get the opportunity to even like, you know, audition probably. And so that's what I think sucks, is like, you know. And then the same thing with like characters that are supposed to be fat, you know. You'll see like skinny people get cast in them and wearing like, you know, bodysuits, when it's like you could have just casted a actual fat person who can also act, like, you know, that they're
why would we do that, Brittany Monet? Like,
right?
It's so weird. And I'm glad that you said that, Brittany, because I was thinking the same thing. Like, and this is no disrespect to Tatiana, but like, to me, She-Hulk should be thicker, should be curvier, should have muscles. Like it shouldn't be just somebody that looks like everybody else. And
exactly, yeah.
So, like maybe she will look physically different when she's transformed into She-Hulk, because like you said, we just got that little glimpse of her in the She-Hulk form. But if all they're doing is putting like a green coat of paint on her, like I'm not feeling it. I'm not saying I won't like the show, but just that aspect of it doesn't sit right with me. Like, I'm even thinking back to the original Hulk show back in the day, like that they paid homage to in the clip with Bill Bixby back in the day. Like, they didn't just have Bill Bixby out here just being the Hulk. They got a bodybuilding dude, Lou Ferrigno, to come in and play the Hulk. So it's like, yeah, you can do it. Like, you can have Tatiana be the main actress, but still find a way to, like, there could have been another way around it so that you have a more comic accurate She-Hulk, I guess.
Yes, and I think also because she ends up getting to a point where, I know she struggles for a while in the comics, where she goes back between wanting to look like quote unquote Jennifer and then not wanting to always look like She-Hulk. But then she gets to a point where she embraces it and she's just always, you know, thick and green. So it's just like, it kind of feels like, well, she's not going to be able to and look like that, you know. I don't think even if she tries to gain weight and muscle, I just don't think she would ever look the way that She-Hulk. Not, I know there is no women, or there's very rare women who are 7 feet tall, but you can at least get close to, you know, a woman who's at least thicker, you know, like, and there's camera angles and what you can do to make someone look taller. But I don't know, because especially if she does eventually get to that point where she's like always going to be in her She-Hulk form, like,
right,
it would have been easier to find an actress who's curvier and thicker and then only use the CGI when she's, you know, trying to look like Jennifer. But that was my opinion on it.
Yeah, I agree. And I guess my last thing on that is, like, you can even look outside of the acting world, and a world that look into a world that I'm kind of familiar with, and anybody that's listened to me knows I talk about this at length, is professional wrestling. Like, there's some really great actresses that just happen to be professional wrestlers, you know, and they could physically look the part of Jennifer if she was She-Hulk all the time. And it's like, yeah, it's a risk because you don't have the name of somebody that's familiar in Hollywood circles, but there's a lot of good actors and actresses that are professional wrestlers. Dwayne Johnson, Dave Bautista, like, come on now. If they can do it, why can't you find one of these women out here who are wrestling and, you know, bring them into this world?
Oh, I definitely agree. But I know in terms of acting wise, Tatiana has got it in the bag because I mean, if you know, she was on the show Orphan Black where she played like 72 different characters.
Okay.
And it was like her and whoever her was her body double, like both of them, like I would have to say her acting double has to be phenomenal too, because like she would have to do scenes where she was acting off of herself, but obviously she would have to act with like the body double to do those scenes.
Right.
And then obviously in post they fix it all where it's all like, you know, Tatiana on screen or whatever. But like, no, I know she can act and she can handle She-Hulk personality wise. I was just disappointed, like, you know, obviously that we stated that they didn't try to find a thicker actress. But
I do like, real quick, I do love like, this could be like, and this is going to sound silly at first listen, but this could be kind of like a more serious Harvey Birdman. And what I mean by that, Brittany Monet, is this could be the series, if you want to go that route, where we introduce new characters into this universe that have legal issues and need legal counsel. And it's like, oh, here's, I'm just trying to pull a character out of thin air. Like, here's Luke Cage, even though that's not going to happen. That's just the first person that came to my mind. Like, somebody that needs legal representation. This could be a way to introduce folks without having to wait for a big movie to introduce a new character, or without giving them their own series to introduce somebody. This could be a good way to kind of be an entry point for a lot of new characters into the MCU.
Yeah, I think so. I think we will get a certain Catholic blind man on that show, is what I'm thinking. I hope you catch my drift.
Whoever could you be talking about?
I feel like we're gonna see him.
What the devil are you going on about, Brittany Monet?
Yeah, I think we're gonna see him. I really do. I don't know, and I don't want to talk about those leaks, but you know, I think that that's what's happening. But you know what, the show out of all the footage that really just made me kind of really more disappointed is, and I feel like I'm gonna get like beat up for this, is the Moon Knight footage.
Ooh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Like, gosh, I love Oscar Isaac. I genuinely do, but I feel like this was I don't know. It's just 40 seconds of footage, but even when he got cast, I was kind of like, oh, that's a miscast. That's how I felt. And then I don't know, that weird British accent in the trailer. I know it's probably one of like the personalities accents and won't be like his main voice throughout the whole show, but I know it was him doing that accent and it was bad. And I was just like, geez.
Got my man out here sounding like Dick Van Dyke on Mary Poppins. Chim chim chiroo, Mary.
I was just like, no.
So here's the thing for me, Brittany, about Moon Knight. Like, I am only tangentially familiar with the character and with the source material. So all of this is like me coming into this with fresh eyes. And so when I heard the casting, I was like, okay, that's cool. You know, Oscar Isaac, he do good work. I'm not mad at that. But then when I saw the trailer, I'm like, I'll watch it because it's Marvel and it's on Disney Plus, and I already have Disney Plus. So I'll watch it. I don't know if this is something that like I stay up till 3:00 in the morning on the East Coast to watch though. Yeah. And that's why I feel so bad judging like the She-Hulk and Moon Knight off of like, 30, 40 seconds of footage. But it was just enough for me to be like, I don't know. And I really hate that. And She-Hulk I'm more familiar than Moon Knight with in like comics. But yeah, I don't know. And I feel bad. Like, I was surprised that I felt that way because I thought I would like be fangirling over everything. But Miss Marvel, she just stood out the most to me. I really hope that they capture her so well because I love Kamala. She's so cute and like, I don't know. I'm very just excited for that. Yeah, like she is going to be great. Like, I think the series is going to be great. I love all these kids, man, that they're bringing in. Like we talked a little bit about Kate Bishop. You got Kamala here, Wanda's kids. We've got Eli that was in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like all these young Avengers, so to speak, Brittany Monet. Yes. Like, I love that we're already starting this next wave. We just started with a brand new Captain America, and we're already thinking about the next generation behind that. And I think Miss Marvel is just going to be really, really fun, and the little bit that we got seems like sweet, and there's a heart
Yes.
and a charm to this show that I think is gonna
Yeah.
the people that were already in for Miss Marvel, they're gonna love it, and the people that might have been on the fence about it, I think the show's gonna win them over.
I think so too. And it to me, the footage felt like it had the same feeling of reading like, the first run that G. Willow Wilson did for Miss Marvel. Like it had that same like feel to it for me. I don't know if it's something I've talked about on our podcast, but I've talked about on here that my dad is actually Muslim. So I grew up having to go to the mosque and things like that. So like reading, G. Willow like started us with it was so good, and it felt these felt like she felt like a girl who I would have like been friends with at the mosque, and would have had like thinking about like I just really loved what she did with the comic. So I don't know, it has a special place in my heart. So the footage just really was like everything to me. I would have been really disappointed if the footage didn't hit for me, because the other two didn't hit. So I would have been like depressed if that didn't hit. I'm like, no,
maybe slipping.
Yeah, like, oh no. But it was just like I really do want to like keep an open mind that for the other two that it was probably just like probably a quick thrown together thing, and not like so I'm trying to be open-minded and hope I change my mind, especially about Oscar. I really don't want to like finish that and be like, yeah, he wasn't miscast. I really hope that I get proven wrong. Like I want to be proven wrong on these.
Oh, don't you fret now, Brittany Monet. I'm gonna be a great Moon Knight. Just you wait and see. Yep. But real quick, just seriously on the Miss Marvel, I do think like one of the things we do talk about on shows, Brittany, a lot is representation.
Yes.
And I think like just the fact that we've got this brown girl on this show, and she's going to be an important part of this universe. Like we're going to enjoy it because like we love the character, but there's going to be some kid, 10, 15 years old watching this, and it might be the first time they see somebody that looks like them in a setting like this. And it's gonna, like, as much as it hits for us, it's gonna resonate even deeper for them. And so I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, me too. I know it's gonna hit for so many brown girls out there who have not seen themselves represented, and especially as like a nuanced nerdy character too, because we've seen some like brown girls who are nerdy characters, but they're not as nuanced sometimes. So I feel like this will be the nice like new and like family friendly too, because I know the show Never Have I Ever is really great with, I feel personally, I don't know, maybe I'm not the one to say it, but I feel like it does a decent job at least hitting representation for brown girls. But I feel like that one's a little bit more mature than what Miss Marvel will probably be. Yeah, I like that there's going to be a younger audience who will have that representation for them, because we both know how much important it is to see ourselves represented. So yes, but I can't believe they're bringing back one of my favorite like animated shows.
Yes,
like,
I was gonna say we like all that stuff is cool, Brittany Monet, but there's one show I really want to come up on here and talk to you about this week. And go ahead.
Oh my gosh, they're bringing back X-Men 97. Like,
yes.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Like there's a certain segment of the Hard Knock audience out there that the theme song instantly popped into their heads right now. Like, woo, like man, this show, like the 90s X-Men cartoon, I'd say, along with the 90s Spider-Man from that era and Batman the Animated Series. Like those were my three.
Same.
Yeah, like those were my three favorite shows at that time, and they still hold up. So just hearing the fact that like not only are they bringing the show back, but that it's not a reboot, it's a continuation, I think that's really cool.
Yeah, me too. I loved it. Like when I was little, if I missed Batman or the X-Men show or the Spider-Man show, I would throw fits, especially over Batman, because I was just so in love with Batman. I would throw like a fit over it. But yeah, those two also were like the two shows that I'm like, no, I can't miss X-Men. And Yeah.
X-Men was like, you just talked about, how Miss Marvel's gonna be family friendly. Just thinking back about that 90s X-Men cartoon, like, yeah, it was for kids, but they went hard. Like, I think in the first 2 or 3 episodes, like, Morph died. Like, they took Morph out the game. Like, Morph was killed. Like, later on in the series, like, Jean Grey dies. Like Mr. Sinister was out here being sinister. Like, it was legit, man. Like, that 90s X-Men cartoon, like, now is an opportunity to get back. If you haven't seen it, like, if you're a little too young to have lived through that era, like, go back and rewatch, man, because
I'm gonna do a rewatch in general.
Yeah, it was great. And so, yeah, I'm excited that, they're bringing back some of the creative team and some of the cast, I guess, from the original show. Like, it's,
yes,
if they do it as well as I know they can do it, like, this is going to be really cool.
It is. I think besides Miss Marvel, like, that really was the thing that I was most excited for, just because I loved that show. Like, so many people did our age. So yeah, I'm just so excited. And that's when, this embarrassing story, this boy that I had a crush on in kindergarten, we would pretend to be Gene and Scott playing on the playground. So
that opens up the door to the obligatory question: who was the little boy on the playground that was Logan? Because they had to be that drama, Brittany and Monet.
I don't even remember if there was, but yeah, that's what we would play X-Men every day.
Just comes over and smacks Scott's juice box out of his hands. Watch where you're going, bub.
Good times. But the other shows are What If is getting a season 2, which I kind of hope that it's going to be more focused on that Doctor Strange, because I really loved that Doctor Strange they introduced on the first season.
Yeah.
So we're also getting Spider-Man Freshman Year. It's another animated show.
I hate this. Like, I always saw it was a title card, so like I can't go on much, Brittany. But like, if this is just for the kids, cool. Like, they need quality programming too. But if you go on Disney Plus right now, there are so many Spider-Man shows.
Yes.
And it's like they just had one. I think it's just called Marvel Spider-Man. Like, the most recent one where Peter's in high school and we get Miles and Gwen and a couple of, like, Harry and a couple of the other characters. Like, that's a pretty good Spider-Man cartoon. So it's like, are we just going to retread that path? Like, I've heard some people say maybe he's in college. I don't think they're going to do that. I think it's going to be Peter in high school again, which, okay, like, I won't be watching it, but then again, it's probably not for me.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's supposed to be, I don't know how many episodes, because it's just supposed to be freshman year. So unless it's just, I don't know, unless they're going to do, Spider-Man sophomore year and, like, I don't know.
Junior year, and then Peter didn't do so well in his junior year, so we got Spider-Man summer school.
Oh my God, imagine they could totally do that though. This is a character that I'm not extremely familiar with, but I know of her just because of, like, following, like, comic stuff or whatever, is Echo. I think that's going to be very interesting because she is a deaf Native American superhero.
Oh, wow.
Who she is going to debut actually on the Hawkeye show, and then she will have her own show. So I'm really excited to see her because she also runs in the same circle with Daredevil in the comics. I think she's actually a little bit older in the comics, because someone please correct me, because I never actually read, like, Echo and Daredevil interacting. I always looked like from the panels I saw that they were kind of like a romantic thing, and I kind of think the girl playing her is younger.
Interesting.
So I don't think they're going to go for an Echo Daredevil romance. But yeah, I'm excited to see what they do with that. And I'm really excited to see her being introduced on Hawkeye. So yeah.
See, I'm glad you clarified that for me, Brittany, because before I saw, like, the title card, somebody just asked me, like, on Twitter or something, like, what do you think about this series? What do you think about this series? What do you think about Echo? And I'm like, in my mind, again, I'm like, maybe it's because they asked me right after they asked me about X-Men 97. I was like, yo, Disney going back to all the 90s joints. Like they making a cartoon off of Echo the Dolphin, that old Sega game. Like that's gonna be hot. We're gonna see this dolphin being all environmentally sound and whatnot. But then somebody's like, no, it's a character from the comics. So I don't think I've ever read anything with Echo in it, but from your description, like she sounds really interesting. And if she's gonna be in the Hawkeye series, like I'm already down for the Hawkeye series. So I'm sure I'll be down for, them spinning Echo out of that.
Yeah, I'm kind of like really excited just because all the rumors I've heard about different people showing up in the Hawkeye shows. Like, I'm very excited. Like, Yelena is supposed to, come back. Where apparently because
we love Yelena in this house.
Yes, we do. Vincent D'Onofrio, who played Kingpin on the Netflix series of Daredevil, is supposed to be in it as well. Rumored, not 100% sure if it's true, but apparently he's in it. And then, like, obviously, there's the rumors that Charlie Cox, Daredevil himself, will be in it. So that's what I'm really kind of looking forward to, what's going to happen with the Hawkeye show. But even if none of them are in it besides Echo, I really am just looking forward to Hawkeye because, like you said, it just actually looks good. You're like, they might have actually made him likable for once.
Yes. Like, I like Hawkeye as this, like, even though Kate's not his actual daughter, like, I like that. Like Hawkeye's put in the role of this beaten down dad, and he's just trying to keep this kid safe. Like I love that dynamic.
I do too. That's one of my favorite storytelling tropes.
It's like Logan, but without all the death.
Yes. Yes, essentially. So yeah, I don't know. I will be really surprised if like it's so good that I'm like I want a season 2. Like I don't know. We'll see.
But I think this is like a good way, and I know you're going to talk about some of the other title cards we got, Brittany. But I love that like you've got this platform in Disney Plus that people are already paying for. Why not use this as kind of a way to deepen the stories in this Marvel universe, but also like it's kind of like a test station, like a taste test, if you will. Like, we're going to give you a season of this. Do you like it? Okay, we'll give you another season. We're going to give you a season of this. Oh, you didn't like it? Okay, it was only meant to be one season in the first place. Like, I like that, we can use this platform as a way to introduce characters and not always go back to the same well of it has to be like the main characters in the MCU. Like, we can give shine to these side characters.
Yes. I agree too, because I think it did wonders for Wanda and Vision, for especially because I feel like in the movies, because there's so many people.
Brittany, you call them by their government names, LaWanda and Vision.
LaWanda and Vision. Yeah, I just think there wasn't like in the movies we didn't see enough of them, or there wasn't enough to like I feel like have a certain attachment to them.
Yes.
And now, like, when we saw the show, you were just like, their relationship is just so beautiful. And I don't know. I always knew Paul Bettany was like a really great actor because I've seen him in so many other things. But that scene between him and Elizabeth when he's like yelling at her and saying that he's scared, like, I don't know. I thought that was one of his like best performances I've ever seen him do. Like, it was such a good scene. Like, I don't know. I really think like that show really did wonders for both of them as actors. And I know some people complained about it and stuff, but yeah, I think that their performances were just so good.
Yeah, like I and this was an argument I had with a friend during Infinity War, because I was not sold on the WandaVision relationship through the previous movie. So it's like when we get to that penultimate scene where, spoiler alert, Thanos comes in and he's like, that's mine, baby. Let me get that stone from you. Like, and it's so emotional. Like, I didn't feel the emotion. I'm like, yeah, it's sad, but like, you really should have just killed Vision from the jump and we wouldn't have had to deal with none of this. But I didn't see her attachment to this android. But then when you look at the series, the series had some things that they could have tightened up here or there, but hey, they made this during a pandemic. So I cut them some slack. But when you see their relationship in WandaVision, it's like, okay, now I get it. And it retroactively makes Infinity War hit a little bit harder for me.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's what I love about doing the series like this, kind of like how the Clone Wars series kind of did that for the prequel movies. It kind of made people appreciate the prequels a little bit more, and then people really hated the sequels, so they just now love the prequels out of like spite. I don't know. I've been someone who the only one I never liked was the Phantom Menace. Like I've always really liked Attack of the Clones and especially Revenge of the Sith. But I do feel like the Clone Wars, it gave that like higher lift of the prequels. So I feel like these shows are doing that for some of the characters. Like it's making them more like, oh, like, okay, I really resonate with these characters a lot more in the story. And so I appreciate that a lot. Speaking of WandaVision though,
yes,
who I'm really excited for this character spinoff is Agatha, House of Harkness.
come on.
Like
Y'all ain't even got to give me no script, no description of this show. Just put Catherine Hahn on the screen every week for 45 minutes and I'm there. Like this show, like the makeup of the show, like could be trash, Brittany Monet, but it's still gonna be good because Catherine Hahn is sitting on top of that garbage heap. And so it's gonna be entertaining, it's gonna be fun. I don't know if this is like a prequel for Agatha or if she finds some way to break out of Wanda's spell that she was in at the end of WandaVision. But either way, like it's gonna be fun.
I would really love for it to like go back and forth between like, maybe her in like the witch trial eras and different points in time, and also her still being under Wanda's spell, and then it ends maybe with her breaking out. And, like some like
okay,
all
Brittany
like
Monet.
like all the different, kind of like how Lost did it, where they would go back in the past, but obviously the flashback really does tie into what's happening in the present. Like I wanted to like mirror it like that, and then it ends with her breaking out of the spell or something.
I like that a lot.
Like that would be fire.
You should pitch a script to Feige real quick.
I feel like I have better ideas versus actually being able to finish a script, because even in my own, I write scripts and then I never finish them. Like I have like at least 60 different.
You're more about the big picture, Brittany, not the detail.
I think also I just get very bored and want to move on to the next thing, which is like a very Gemini thing to say. But yeah, I'm like, all right, I'm bored. Let me try something new. So I feel like I can do better shorts. And then we have I Am Groot. I'm not sure if is it animated or it is animated. That might be cute just because I feel like everyone likes Groot. The Marvel Zombies is going to be another animated original, which I don't know.
I'm not down for Marvel Zombies. Like that's just not. I know people love it, or some people love it. It's just not my cup of tea.
I'll probably watch it just because like we talk about almost every new episode of something Marvel on this podcast too, so I'll probably have to watch it. But yeah, I agree with you. That's not my cup of tea either. I am excited for these other. There's 3 more, right? For Ironheart, which is Riri Williams, who, if you guys don't know who she is a Black female teenager who is extremely, extremely smart and kind of basically picks up Iron Man's mantle, but it obviously she goes by Ironheart, which her uncle is Brody, which he is getting his own show called Armor Wars, I think.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if they're in production or anything for that yet.
So here's the script I pitched for Armor Wars, Brittany, since we out here doing a pitch meeting on Hard Knock this week. Okay, so, Armor Wars to me, it's got to be about Rhodey overcoming his greatest adversary. And so, people is out here with these suits and everything. You probably got Sharon Carter, the power broker, up in here doing power broker things. And in the final episode, Rhodey comes face to face with his greatest adversary, his greatest opponent, and his opponent's in a suit, much like his. And the mask comes off of the suit. And he's like, I told you it'd be next time, baby. I'm back, man. Terence Howard versus Don Cheadle, the fight we've been waiting for since 2008. Make it happen, Feige. Don't be a coward. Sign the check. Make it happen. Cut the check.
Oh my God. Cut the check. Wow. That's, I mean, it could happen because in Loki, obviously the timelines all converged into one. So, and, maybe that's what's going to happen.
Look, for those that haven't heard me before, like I know Terence Howard has some things about him that aren't the greatest, but I love Terence Howard's Rhodey. Like I think like Don Cheadle's a better actor, but I think I like Terrence Howard's Rhodey better.
Mm-hmm.
He just fits with Tony. Like he seems like a guy that would hang out with Tony Stark, whereas Don Cheadle's Rhodey seems like a dude that would have no time for Tony's foolishness, especially like drunken party boy Tony.
Yes, exactly. I feel like even though Terrence would be the more like responsible one, he's the one who like actually is willing to put up with it versus I felt Don Cheadle was too good to hang out with Tony Stark.
Yes,
and
exactly.
Even though I do like him in the role, like I like both of them in the role for different reasons.
Like Rhodey's got to be a little grimy to hang out with Stark, and Terrence Howard got a little bit of grimy on him.
Yes, exactly. In this show that I'm just excited for because of the cast alone is Secret Invasion.
Yes.
Like we obviously know Samuel L. Jackson is coming back as Nick Fury, whether it is actually Nick Fury or it's gonna turn out to be Ben Mendelsohn again, we'll find out. But yes, Ben Mendelsohn is on the show, as well as Emilia Clarke, who you guys know, that's Daenerys Targaryen. And I think the guy who played Malcolm X in the One Night in Miami movie, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. He's supposed to be in it. Oh my God, what's that one actress name? She's so good. She's a British actress. Is it Coleman? Her last name is Coleman. Can't remember her first name.
Kingsley Ben-Adir is the brother from One Night in Miami that played Malcolm.
Okay, and then it's like something Coleman is also in it. And I feel like she's playing the Scroll Queen, but I could be very wrong. But I'm really excited to see what she's going to do. And I know that Secret Invasion is technically filming at the same studio that they're filming Captain Marvel in London. So, or the Marvels, I should say. That's what they renamed Captain Marvel 2 to, or it might not even technically even be Captain Marvel 2. But yeah, I do feel like, those are definitely going to cross over. So I'm very excited to find out who's actually a Skrull and who's not. And I know some people are mad because they feel like it's undoing what Captain Marvel 1 did and establishing that the Skrulls actually aren't evil and they're like, refugees trying to find somewhere to live. But I think some people also don't realize that little section of Skrulls who did what they did in the Secret Invasion were a crazy zealot cult group. So yeah, I feel like it's going to be one of those, if done right, I feel like they can really land that type of storyline really well.
Yeah, because well, first on that last point you made, Brittany, like I think, like just because the Skrulls we saw in Captain Marvel were cool, like that doesn't mean all the Skrulls in all the worlds are cool. Like there can be some Skrulls that, like there's people in your own family that y'all might not want to hang out with come this Thanksgiving. So like, come on now, we can have a bad group of Skrulls people, but I am really excited about this. I think I'm glad that they're doing this in the series versus introducing this concept in the movie, because I think it might be a little confusing if they did this in a movie first. And so this series gives them time to kind of show us all of these different things and show us how the Skrulls infiltrated. And also like that little picture we got of Sam Jackson as Nick Fury, a little more weary Nick Fury with the salt and pepper beard. Like I'm interested to see what Nick Fury's been up to, because the last time we saw the real Nick Fury, he was on that spaceship at the end of Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yes, he was chilling in space.
Yep. So I'm wondering what Nick Fury's been doing up there. And I'm like, Samuel L. Jackson is just great in this universe, whether he's in an animated form like we saw in What If, or whether he's one of the co-stars of the movie or he just pops up at the end of the movie. Like having this dude in this universe is awesome. And I want this man to have a lifetime contract here. Like he can be 85 years old and still play Nick Fury. I don't care, Brittany.
Well, he is what, 72?
So 13 more years of Sam Jackson. That's what we want, Feige.
Yes, obviously if Sam was willing to do it. But yeah, he's so good. He's one of those people who he's just always really good. And I know it's so different, but I really love his character in Django. Like he's so good.
Man, I know people like, especially the folks that are listening to this show, like might just think of Sam Jackson as Nick Fury because he's done it so many times, or maybe even Mace Windu. But like this is a dude that's been around for a minute, Brittany. Like
Yes.
a minute. Like I'm talking about like Jungle Fever playing a crackhead. Like this guy has been around forever. And so the fact that, he is still doing it at the age of 72, like that's crazy. And yeah, like Sam Jackson deserves all the flowers while he's still with us.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, that is it for all of the Marvel stuff. There was really nothing new with Star Wars, but we are going to take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about any other stuff from the Disney Plus day that we were interested in, or if whatever is nerd popping for us. And yeah.
Brittany, we've been talking about all these superheroes, man. And one thing they all have in common, like besides their powers or besides their origin stories, when we looking at these dudes, whether it's Sam Wilson as Captain America or Chris Evans as Captain America. I don't know why I just used his government name, but let's go with it, Brittany Monet. We're talking about Jeremy Renner as Clint Barton as Hawkeye. I brought them all together. The one thing they all have in common, Brittany, is they are good-looking dudes. And I wonder, is there a way for just a regular, normal, non-powered guy like me to be a good-looking dude too?
There is, actually.
Oh, do tell.
So there is Manscaped razors and little formulas. They have one for your face. They have one for your love making area.
Okay, because you got to keep them Infinity Stones clean.
Yes, and you gotta have separate razors because that's just cross contamination and dirtiness. So they have ball shavers.
Okay.
Yes.
Do they have like oils? Because I don't just want to look fresh. I want to smell fresh too.
They sure do. And they also have nose trimmers for your nose hairs called a weed whacker. Like they can hook you up. And right now, when there's a color, if you use our code, you can get 20% off of Manscaped. Okay. So it's hard NOC, like hard knock. And you can get a discount and get some good stuff for yourself. Or if you are someone who is looking for Christmas gifts, maybe for, people who need that stuff, you can get it. Like, why not?
Yeah, it's like you said, Brittany, this would be a great gift, man, this holiday season. Like, if you a man or if you somebody that loves a man, don't you want that man to smell good, look good, feel like he got powers, even if he ain't got no superpowers, Brittany? That's what Manscaped can do.
Works wonders. And we are back from that break. I totally got water and coffee and donuts, and I am good to go for the next 15 minutes.
Wow. That was fast. So you got water, coffee, and donuts?
Yeah.
During the break?
Yeah.
Okay. I've got an energy drink. That's all I have. I've been sipping on it through the whole show. So yeah, I need to get to that level where I can multitask like you, Brittany.
Well, as I said, I'm a Gemini. That's what we're known for.
You got split personalities like Moon Knight.
I sure do.
Hey, Governor, you mind if I get a spot of tea?
Well, so there was a couple of things left that at least I wanted to touch on that I'm excited for coming to Disney Plus that is not Star Wars or Marvel. These two things are the ones that I'm kind of most excited about. Is we're getting an Enchanted 2, which is going to be called Disenchanted. Amy Adams is coming back, and so is the sexy doctor guy from Grey's Anatomy. I can't remember his name right now. I'm so
McDreamy.
Excited. Yeah, McDreamy. And then I'm also very excited for Hocus Pocus 2 because Hocus Pocus was one of those movies that definitely defined my personality. So I'm like really
honestly, and don't take any offense to this, Brittany, but I can see you in each one of the sisters. Like there's a little bit of Brittany in each one of the sisters.
That makes sense. Yes. So I'm very, very excited for those two. There's a couple of other things. Like I think they were doing like the Rescue Rangers with Andy Samberg, and I love Andy Samberg. So I'm like, okay, I'm on board for this. So it's
weird, but I think it works.
Yes. I don't remember if that's I think it's animated, but I'm just really excited for like just mainly those two, Hocus Pocus 2 and Disenchanted. Like I'm just really, really just excited to see what they do with those.
Yeah, I think like, and that's the thing with Disney Plus, man. Like, and this is not, even though I guess this whole episode is kind of a commercial for Disney. See, Feige knew what he was doing. He put the stuff on Disney Plus. He knew shows were going to talk about it, and he gets free advertisement. Boy, that Kevin Feige is a smart one. But I think the cool thing about Disney Plus, Brittany, is you can literally spend an afternoon just on one of the tabs. You know, Star Wars or Marvel or Nat Geo. Like, I don't spend a lot of time on Nat Geo, but I'll check something out. Like that Jeff Goldblum show is kind of cool. But I think like one of the things that I was pleasantly surprised about was Pixar. Pixar got some heat coming for us in the near future. Brittany, like not only do we have that Buzz Lightyear show starring Chris Evans, which
I thought it was a movie.
Is it a movie or I don't know if it's a movie or a show. It might be a movie. It's something that'll be on Disney Plus, but I didn't know I needed that in my life, but I'm here for it. I think the show that maybe I got the most excited about that I didn't even know I needed a reboot of was The Proud Family.
Oh yes, is that Pixar though? But yeah.
It was under the I think it was under the Pixar like coming soon tab or something. I don't know. There was a lot of stuff that Disney was promoting, so maybe I mixed up the tabs. But yes, The Proud Family is coming back. Sugar Mama and them is back. Brittany Monet. I
loved that cartoon. Oh my god. Ooh, and La Cienega, she was a low-key a hater, but like I remember that episode when like she was like, everyone always makes fun of my feet, and then the dad was like, oh, your feet can't be that bad, and then he was like, damn, and all.
Yo, my favorite character in The Proud Family, I don't even remember how many episodes he was in, but just watching that show when I was younger, like it felt like he was in a bunch of them, was Tommy Davidson, like the uncle. Well, he's like always singing the soul songs.
Okay, I don't know if I remember the uncle.
Like, I mean, it might have just been one episode, and I just watched that episode a lot when I was younger, or it was always on. So I thought he was in the show more than he actually was. But like I remember, he was like there was something going on at the house, and like he dressed up kind of like a cross between like Little Richard and Elvis, and like the family left, and he was like, everybody left the home. Oh, like Al Green, I feel so alone.
Oh, okay, yes, I remember him now. I was trying to remember what his name was and stuff. Okay, yeah, I remember him.
I want to say Uncle Elroy, but I know that's probably wrong.
So is he coming back too? Because he was funny. I remember him.
I hope he's coming back. Like they showed a list of the guest stars. Like Lil Nas X is going to be one of the guest stars. Like there was a little Lizzo's gonna be on The Proud Family, which is gonna be wild, but like he wasn't on there, so I don't know if he's gonna be part of the main cast or if he'll show up. But yeah, he was one of my favorite characters on that show. That like I think a lot of people forget about that show, but it was like like we didn't have a lot of particularly animated shows that looked like us growing up, Brittany. So like The Proud Family was one of my favorites.
Yes, I really like The Proud Family. And you know, Static Shock was like, I feel like the two that we had that were also like good, I would say maybe. So yeah, those two really. So I'm excited for that. Also, you know, I forgot the Princess Tiana show too. That could be a lot of fun too, because they are also bringing back, her name is Anika Rose, right? They're bringing her back up to voice her again. So that's going to be fun, I think.
Princess the Frog is low key like I know it doesn't get the same love as some of the other Disney movies, but like Princess and the Frog is a good movie, man.
It really is. And I always forget how good the music is until like I watch the movie again. I'm like, oh, this music smacks. And I feel like it probably is part of like, I think us kind of being conditioned to forget about like certain things that have Black people in it or more catered to Black people. And I feel like it's just, I don't know, because I know there's other people like, oh, I never forget, but I just feel like that's part of why, because I feel like people always brush over Princess and the Frog.
Like, we got a Disney movie with Keith David as the bad guy. Come on.
Yes. Oh my God. Speaking of Keith David, I really hope that they go all through with like a Gargoyles reboot, whether it's live action or animated again, because he was just I loved that show. That's another show that I liked watching. I think it was on Disney or Fox, whatever it was on. I loved watching it. So.
Oh, speaking of shows that people might love watching. I don't know if I'm gonna love watching this. Like maybe I'll watch it with my youngest niece because I think she might be the only one left in the demographic for this show. But we're getting a Cars series, Cars on the Road, starring Owen Wilson, your man from Loki, as Lightning McQueen, and Larry the Cable Guy as Mater. So Mater and McQueen are on the road and hijinks ensue. So I don't know if it's going to be any good, but I'm sure my niece will have me watching at least one episode of this show with Larry the Cable Guy in it.
I feel like my nephew, because he's starting to play with toy cars now, so I think he might actually like that. So I feel like that's something to put on when he's over. Yeah, I don't know. That's probably not in. I feel like I really like the first Cars movie, and that was kind of it for me when it comes to the Cars world.
The less said about planes, the better.
Oh, I don't even think I saw that one. But I do watch a lot of Disney stuff, even though there's some that I haven't seen. I'm a sucker for Disney.
Like that's the thing. Like the more it's crazy, Brittany, because like we've had this discussion before on some of our shows. Like the more tentacles Disney puts out there and the more acquisitions it acquires, it's like this shouldn't be the case. Like we're one company owning all of this stuff, but still I'm gonna watch most of the stuff they put out. Like
yeah, I'm not gonna lie and be like, no, if it looks good, I'm gonna watch it. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, that's just how it is. But I think that was all the important stuff because, like I said, Star Wars, it was just a little like clip of more of them talking about making the Kenobi show versus actually showing us any footage. There was like a concept art, so it does look like Darth Vader and Kenobi will fight again.
Yeah, and I think they showed us a little bit of Hayden practicing for some of the lightsaber fights.
I thought it was Hayden, unless he's the other guy, but the one guy with the tattoo on his arm, that's Ewan or Ian, however you say his name. Obi-Wan Kenobi, basically. And, when I watched it again, I was like, wait a minute. The guy in the red shirt is Kenobi. That's not
okay. Hayden. I thought it was Hayden. Okay.
The framing of, unless Hayden is the other guy, like the framing of it, I think it was actually yeah. But no, I think that show just has like a crazy good cast. Like, oh my gosh, that cast is just so crazy good, I think. And then I'm just really excited to see that happen again. And I know some people are saying that them fighting again is gonna undermine A New Hope, but I don't think it will. I feel like they can do it smartly. Deborah Chow, like she's such a fantastic director, so I'm excited she is like leading.
Like I don't get that. Like obviously, Brittany, like you're more into the universe and the world and the mythology of Star Wars than me, but it's like it would make sense. Like in the time between we left with Revenge of the Sith to when we see old man Obi-Wan in A New Hope, like I'm sure Vader didn't track this dude down at least one time because he's been looking for him.
Yeah, like I exactly. I feel like that's something people don't want to think about. I'm pretty sure they did. So like, yeah,
if you the dude like Brittany Monet, like we friends. Like I love you, Brittany Monet, but if we had an argument and that argument led to me in a lava pit and I lost all my limbs, and you still out there 25, 30 years later, I'm gonna try to come see you at least one time so we can settle this argument.
Exactly.
So like, why wouldn't you think Vader would be like, yeah, I'm gonna roll up on this dude, we'll catch him slipping one time. I know he out there on Naboo. I'm gonna get him Tatooine. It's going down, son. On site, Obi-Wan, on site.
Exactly. Like it is. It's gonna.
And I need that dialogue in the series. Like I need Hayden Christensen on site, Obi-Wan, on site.
But he's like.
I got a confession though, Brittany.
Yes.
Confession time. Here's what I got. I think like I'm kind of glad they didn't overwhelm us with new Star Wars stuff because I haven't even finished the new Star Wars stuff they gave us with like Bad Batch and all that. Like,
okay,
it's like there's a lot, Brittany. There's a lot of Star Wars stuff, and I haven't had a chance to get through it all.
There's so much. Even like if you're like me and you're trying to like read the books and like kind of read the comics. I've read a couple of the comics. I know I'm not going to keep up with the comics. I've already accepted that. But like trying to keep up with the books and then reading other books too is just, I have so many like piles of books and comics that I need to read. I'm still reading the Rising Storm because I honestly keep reading like 2-3 pages and then I don't know, I'm like, all right. And there's nothing wrong with the story too. It's just I feel like I know I have so much to read that I'm like,
yes, you do.
yeah, yes, I really do. But no, I think not showing us new footage was good because also they showed us anything for like the Andor series. I probably would just be talking about that all the time. I'm really excited to see Diego Luna again in the Star Wars universe. But I think I don't know if I talked about it with you though, but Hayden is also going to be on the Ahsoka show, so I'm really excited for like the love that Hayden Christensen is getting that I've always gave towards him. Just everyone else is catching up with me.
I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad he's getting it because, like, here's the thing: like, I didn't like the prequels at all, but it wasn't Hayden's fault. Like, he didn't write the movie, he didn't direct the movie. He did the best he could with what he was given.
Yes, I agree, but I think Revenge of the Sith is honestly really good. So I don't know if you've watched it.
That is my
recently.
favorite. That is my favorite of the three.
Yeah, I think it's the best. I also just really love like dark and tragic stuff when it comes to that. So I really like that a lot, in my opinion.
Anakin, what happened to the younglings? What did you do, Anakin? This is just an episode of me doing bad accents.
It is, but I hope that the audience is loving this. Well, I know pretty much think that's it. So I guess we're gonna do nerd pop.
We did it. We made it through Disney Plus Day, everybody.
Woo! If there was something we didn't cover, talk about that you were excited for, I'm deeply sorry. If you disagree with our thoughts on the footage, that's okay too. You know, it's all right. I'm not gonna be upset if someone is like, hey, that really resonated with me and I thought it was awesome, because that's how it goes. Sometimes things resonate with everyone, sometimes it doesn't, and that's all good. But what is nerd popping for you this week, Brother Nate?
Okay, what's nerd popping for Nate? Okay, I have one good nerd popping and one question mark nerd popping. I don't know if I'm allowed to do that. Okay, so my good nerd popping is we're gonna go over to the DC side of things, and The Flash is back this week with the 5-part crossover, I guess special event. It's not technically a crossover, the Armageddon event, and that's cool. Like, it'd be cool if The Flash was just coming back. But from you and me, Brittany, it's extra cool because we getting Cress Williams as Black Lightning back in this event. And I'm so excited, man. Like, Black Lightning was a show that I really loved. I know you did too. And so to be able to see this character back, you know, after the unfortunate cancellation of the show is really cool. So I'm excited for that. That's my happy nerd popping. But my question mark nerd popping, Brittany Monet.
Okay.
I saw an article about the next Captain America movie starring Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson, and the quote I saw, and granted, I didn't read the article, I just read the quote, so maybe this is my fault. But the quote I saw in the headline was, "The next Captain America will feature Sam Wilson having to earn the title of Captain America." And I'm like, hold on, didn't we just do that?
Yes, we
like,
did.
Isn't that what we just did? Was Sam Wilson earning the title of Captain America? So, like, I get it, maybe if it's like the general public still has questions, but nobody on the Avengers and nobody that knows Sam should be questioning him. Like Sam earned this, man. Like, whatever you feel about the series itself, like, by the end of the series, Sam Wilson was Captain America. So I hope they don't undo that in the movie.
Yeah, that makes no sense for them to like undo it or kind of rehash it again, I guess. I don't know.
Like, Sam shouldn't be doubting himself. Like, we shouldn't have a moment where Sam just looking at the shield like, I don't know if I can pick this up. The weight is too heavy. Like, come on, dog. We saw you for 6 episodes. You done picked up the shield. Keep picking it up, man.
Yeah, I don't know why he has to go through that again when, like you said, he already did it for 6 episodes. So I hope that's really not what they're going for, because I feel like that's just, he should already just be Captain America. I can understand if he's still dealing with like certain people still being like maybe anti-Black about it. Like, I can understand that aspect.
Like,
of
somebody in the government, maybe, like, I can get that, but Sam and the people around him, like, they should be way past that.
Exactly. That's what, yeah, definitely. And I hope that's, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I hope but all like speaking of just like bad nerd popping stuff, oh my gosh. The Black Panther 2, like that movie feels doomed now. And I hate that because I feel like Chadwick would be so upset. Just because the fact that Letitia refuses to get vaccinated. And the thing is, if Chadwick, and this is not to like be like, I don't know, grim about stuff, but the thing is, if Chadwick had survived and, was able to get healthy enough to do Black Panther 2 and say COVID was still a thing and happening in the world, like she wouldn't be able to be around him on set because if she's not vaccinated, he would be extremely at high risk for getting COVID and then actually dying from COVID. Like, that could have been a reality. And the fact that she just refuses like to get vaccinated is just, it's wild to me because it's like, well, if Chadwick had been alive to be on this film set, like you wouldn't be able to be near him. Like, I don't know. It's really like sad that this is holding up the movie.
Yeah.
And
Shuri's such a great character. Like in that first movie, she's so great.
Yes, like as an actress, I think she's very talented. I'm not gonna like not give her flowers because she is genuinely a talented actress, but it is really sad to see that like, this happen and her potentially throwing away her career over this, because there's gonna get to a point where Disney, because Disney is the one who still technically pays for this stuff, like they're gonna be like, no, you're gonna get vaccinated or we're gonna recast, and that's what's gonna happen. Like I'm pretty sure that's what's gonna happen, and they're gonna have to reshoot pretty much most of the movie again. But
and here's the thing, like you can do whatever you want to do in life, people listening. Like you have free will. But it's like you got to choose your battles, man. And it's like, is it that important for you to be right on this issue, Letitia? And even like I'm saying right in her mind, obviously. Is it that important for you that you would risk losing this job, risk losing this opportunity, risk, damaging this franchise that you helped build, and it's like, man, like we're already dealing, and they're dealing with it more so than us, obviously, because they actually work with the brother. But like we're already dealing with the loss of Chadwick, of T'Challa, of the center of this movie. And now this is going on as well. And it's like, man, come on. Like this movie is too important to people and for what it means and what it represents. And like, come on, we all have taken shots for school or taken shots for flu and stuff like that. Like, come on, like this isn't it, Letitia. And I know you listen. This ain't it, sis. Like you can have all the ideas you want, but when it gets to the point where you're actually actively hurting other people and your coworkers and things of that nature, is it worth it?
Exactly. I understand being like still not sure what's in the vaccine, but most people who have taken the vaccine are fine. And yes, this does happen where people will take something and they get like a bad reaction, but it's very rare if that does happen. So just, I don't know, the fact that you're just willing to put so many other people in danger too. Like, yeah, I'm sorry if at this point you think COVID isn't real, like I don't know what to say to you. COVID is real, and if you don't want to get vaccinated, fine, but there are rules in place to try to keep other people safe and keep people from dying. And the reason why these rules are in place by the government is because if almost everybody in the world dies from COVID, they're not going to have an economy to stay afloat. Like, I'm sorry, but that's why they are making sure that that vaccine is safe. Not because they actually care if like, not that they actually care about us, but they care about what is going to affect the economy more. And what's going to affect the economy more is literally if half of the population does die or more than half dies, like that's going to affect their economy and their being able to subjugate people and do whatever they want to do. So like the vaccine works because they want us alive, so because capitalism, not because and they're not like, if they wanted to actually kill everybody and microchip everybody, like they already follow us. If you're online, You have a job.
If you got a phone, man.
If you got a phone, the government is already watching you. They're keeping track of you. Like, I don't know. Wow, what a nerd this turned.
Yes, that nerd popping got really dark, Brittany Monet.
Oh yeah. So what's this isn't technically new. It's my nerd popping good thing, but I just recently rewatched Jingle All the Way, which is like one of my favorite Christmas movies.
Yes.
And it's so good. I never saw I think they did a sequel. I never watched the sequel, but like
it wasn't good.
I believe you. But
it starred Larry the Cable Guy, I think.
Oh, but the first one is it's so good. It's so fun. And actually, Jake Lloyd, who played Anakin in Phantom Menace, is in it. And seeing it and just knowing where that poor boy is now, I just feel so bad. And I wish the Star Wars fandom was much kinder to people, even if they don't like their characters.
Yeah.
Just to be kinder, because the fact that boy just, ended up growing up and having lots of self-esteem issues and then addicted to drugs and getting arrested and things. I just feel so bad because he was like such a good little child actor in Jingle All the Way that it was just kind of a little bittersweet because you're like, oh, you could have I don't know. Yeah, that's why.
Like when we saw that with the actor that played Jar Jar Binks, fandom can be terrible sometimes in instances like that, but Jingle All the Way, Brittany Monet, I'm so glad that I didn't know that you were going to bring that up. That is like one of my favorite Christmas movies, man, because you got Arnold, of course, just like, who's eating your mother's cookies? Put down the cookie. And then Arnold was great enough, but then we threw Sinbad at the peak of Sinbadness.
Yes.
As the antagonist, and it was great. Just
so good.
Just the dumbest movie in the world. But every time, if it's on cable during the holidays, I'll stop and watch it, man. Jingle All the Way was fantastic.
It is so good. Yeah. I watched it. My mom hadn't seen it more recently than I had, so she ended up having to be in the room with me, and she was watching it with me, and she was just like, "Oh my god, this movie's ridiculous," and just
the fact that Sinbad, I think he at one point. He calls in a bomb threat and there's no repercussions.
Oh my God. Yes. And then he's like, well, I'm a postman, one of these things have got to be a bomb, but he's low-key joking. And then
yeah,
package of being a bomb, the one that he was pretending was the bomb. And he's like, oh, you people are sick. I don't know. It was just so funny.
Yeah. Sinbad is, I love Sinbad, man. I think that's a guy that just kind of has been forgotten by history, but Sinbad had a good run in the 90s and the early 2000s. He had a good run.
He also had a movie similar to Shaq where he played a genie, where they both play genies. I don't know if
no Brittany, Shaq didn't play a genie, did he? No, I mean hold on, Sinbad didn't play the genie. Shaq played the genie in Kazam. Sinbad, trying to think, what was Sinbad didn't have a genie movie, did he? Because this is that Mandela effect thing.
I'm pretty sure Sinbad had one too.
Okay, see now Sinbad genie movie, because I think this is Mandela effect affecting you, Brittany Monet. So Sinbad genie movie.
Oh, it's crazy when you Google it, Shazam comes up, the new Shazam.
Okay, so there was no film called Shazam ever made in the 90s, and Sinbad never played a genie in a movie either. This is the Mandela effect, a phenomenon where a large number of people remember something happening different to how it actually happened.
That's wild.
So Shaq made Kazam. That's the genie movie with Shaq. But people thought Sinbad made a genie movie called Shazam.
Is it a fake, thing though? Because I remember someone posted.
I think somebody probably made a poster, a mock-up poster, but the movie never actually happened.
That's
a lot of people just think it happened.
I thought it did. I seen Shazam, Kazam. I seen Kazam.
Yeah, which was terrible. He was a rapping genie.
Oh, well, then what is this? How come there is a trailer for one on YouTube?
Brittany, don't be fooled by the internet, Brittany Monet.
Okay.
Yeah, there was no, because as soon as you started saying it, I was like, wait a minute. No, Shaq did the genie movie. Sinbad didn't do the genie movie.
Well, see, I remember Shaq doing the one, but I thought they both did. Mm. See, now this is proof of what do you call it? Of timelines falling on top of each other
Yes.
or whatever. Because
Thanks a lot, Sylvie.
yeah, but that really did happen. And like the Bernstein Bears, whatever.
Yeah, that's another Mandela effect thing.
Yeah, wild. All right.
And I remember that because of an episode of like the X-Files reboot a couple years ago that was terrible, but I still watched all of it because I love the X-Files, but it was terrible.
It was terrible. All righty. Well,
you know what wasn't terrible though, Britney Monet?
what?
This here episode that the people just listened to.
Yes, I hope you guys liked it. And if you enjoyed Nate being on, maybe we can have us all on together. Because I really feel like Dom and Keith would like get a kick out of getting to work with you and talk with you and everything. So for those who don't know all of the cool things that you do, Nate, tell the people where they can find you and all the cool stuff that you do.
Awesome. Yes. Thank you for having me, Brittany. I really appreciate it. It's always a good time. Like I said at the beginning, like anytime Britney Monet need me, I'm just a sidekick text away from showing up. But I do think I need to get like a link tree so I can just give people the link tree so I don't have to rattle off everything. But if y'all enjoyed me and y'all want to hear more from me, you can check me out on the Kings of Sport podcast, which is kind of my home base. It's a show I've done since 2013. It was me and Marcus Vanderberg. Marcus is going to ESPN, so he's fully become a member of the Feige Disney family now. So that was just me, but you can check us out. We talk sports, pop culture, politics, all that good stuff. We got a Patreon, patreon.com/the Kings of Sport. $5 gets you in the door for all of that audio and video content. We appreciate the support. If you want to hear me talk about wrestling, you can check out Post Wrestling, where I am the host of 2 shows. Number 1 is the Nubian Wrestling Advocates, which is a show about pro wrestling from a Black perspective. And I also am the host of the Rocky Maivia Picture Show, which Britney Monet was a guest on. She was on the game plan episode of the Rocky Maivia Picture Show, which is a podcast talking about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's movie career. And then I guess the last thing I'll promote is DC TV Podcast, which is where I first met Britney Monet.
Yes.
We were on the Black Lightning podcast together, and now we're on the Lituation Room, which is a continuation of the Black Lightning podcast with me, Britney, Vanessa Shark, and America's sweetheart, Clement Bryant. And we are also doing the Naomi podcast, which is for the upcoming CW show Naomi, produced by Ava DuVernay and starring Casey Wallfall. So me and Britney should be putting out our first official Naomi episode in the next week or so, or 2 or 3, depending on when schedules align and books get read. We'll no shade. We'll be dropping that on y'all. And for everything else, just follow me on Twitter, y'all, at @8 MOZAIK, at Nate Mosaic on Twitter.
All right.
You, Brittany. Where can people find you, Britney Monet?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Hi Britney Monet. And yeah, like Nate said, you can check out at Naomi Podcast, which I have talked about on here before, is a dual feed for technically a triple feed, because it's going to have all the back catalog of the Black Lightning podcast, and then the Lituation Room, which is, like you said, the continuation of the Black Lightning podcast crew, just talking about whatever we want to talk about. And then also, obviously, the Naomi podcast, which will focus on that show. That is all I'm doing right now until I have I don't know if I have anything to announce anytime soon. Who knows? But that's all. And as you know, Nerds of Color is on all the different cool places where you can find podcasts. This podcast, Hard Knock Life. I think we're also on YouTube now.
Okay.
I feel like there's things I'm forgetting because Keith is always
blowing up out here.
We are. Keith is better though at wrapping this up than I am. That's how I felt on DC TV Classics. He used to be like the same channel, same pod. I don't know, whatever he used to say. He used to say it, and it was so cool. And I always butchered it when it was like just me and the other like people recording instead of him.
Don't fret, love. You're doing great. You're doing great.
Thank you, Oscar Isaac.
If Oscar Isaac ever listens to this episode, he's going to hate us.
But I loved him in Dune. He was amazing in Dune, and I loved him in Star Wars and everything
Yes,
else.
he's really good in Star Wars.
I want to make that clear. I do actually love Oscar Isaac. I just feel like he could have played a different character. I don't know who, but not Moon Knight. But you know, I like I said, I really want to be wrong about this and my mind to be changed. So I'm very open-minded to it. But yeah, this has been a fun episode. Thank you for joining me, my right-hand man.
Anytime.
This is a Hamilton-friendly podcast, so just so you know, Nate, for next time. And
it must be nice to have Hard Knock on your side.
It must be nice. It must be nice. All right. Well, I'm sorry for that terrible singing. And Jake Gyllenhaal is in trouble. And this has been a great episode. See you guys next week.
This is the hard knock life, but not the chicken kind, more like the people.